We'll just push the recording. Morning, guys. It's Paul Duncan here, and I want to welcome you all to the first week of the Small Business Development Corporation 5-week Jumpstart program, sponsored by Business Station. So a little bit of introduction. If you haven't met me before, my name is Paul Duncan. I'm the business coach and marketing strategist for Business Station. This series for the next 5 weeks is just to give you a little bit of insights about some resources and a little bit of learnings that will help you build your business to level that people the dream about. So couple of little bit of housekeeping tips to get the best out of this program. Just trying to allocate a little bit of time each week to spend on these lessons because, you know, as my mentor says to me, information without implementation is useless. So please just, you know, concentrate over the next 5 weeks, trying to have a look at the videos each week, allocate some time, look at them, download the resources, and then, you know, see on how it can be implemented into your specific business. Now, as always, I'm here to support you through the next 5 weeks and ongoing from there. So, you know, if you do need some help, or if you need some specific direction, then, you know, just reach out and we can catch up through a quick Zoom session. But before I get started on today's lesson, I just want to share something with you. Okay, so you probably all now have access to your dashboard. Now, this is what your dashboard looks like. Now, if you haven't got access to that, you should have received the email with login details. Check your spam mail as well for emails that come through, whitelist them, because there might be a few things that I send through to you in regards to that. But if you haven't got access to that, please reach out. I'll get onto that for you. But you will have a dashboard like that under my groups, right? You won't have all these because I registered myself for all the lessons that I'm doing, but you will have this one, Jumpstart Your Business by the Small Business Development Corporation. So each week, all you need to do is just to click into that. Okay, make sure you bookmark this on your little bit of the browser. I get people coming out and saying, oh, I've forgotten the link, I don't know how to get there. So the good idea is just to bookmark that in there. But the next 5-week lessons are in here. I've picked some ones that are really, really relevant to this particular market right now. And I'm going to start off with how to create a market dominating position this week, which is around making you unique, making you stand out. So if you just jump into the dashboard each week, as I said, allocate some time. And then I try to say about at least 5 hours a week, just, you know, a little bit of quiet time where you can just concentrate on this. If you click on each week's lesson, you'll get to that week's lesson, the video for that week. Down on the right-hand side is your resources, okay, which is really, really important, right? Especially the worksheet, right? These don't worry about when this is a little bit of an accountability session for me. So if you do click on it, it will actually go green. Then I know that you've downloaded it. Okay, this is all about, as I said, keeping you accountable, keeping you going. So that's what my job over the next 5 weeks is, so you get the best out of this program. So once you download them, right, the worksheet is probably the best one. As you're watching the video, you can actually download it, print it off, or download it, pop it onto your computer, have it open, right? So then as you're going through the lessons, you're writing it down, which is reinforcing that learnings going forward as well. Okay. The pre-meeting questionnaire is just a questionnaire about what's coming up, you know, just a little bit of a tick off of each week to make sure that you watch the video. So if you're a real dot the I, cross the T's type of person, then that's there. The last one there is a little bit of the post-meeting action steps of what to do and just to reinforce your learning. So a little bit of resources around there. Okay, up the top right-hand side is the connection to the group meeting each week. So this is the live lesson. So you can just pop into your dashboard, click on that link, and it'll get you into this live session each week. They are recorded, right? As you would have seen, I'm recording this going forward. Under here, you will find the recording for each week's live session. So if you do miss it for any reason, I know life gets in the way sometimes, but if you can, please get onto these lessons. I do have a little bit of, or these live sessions do have a little bit of a question and answer section as well, so you can ask questions. But if you do miss it and you do have a question, flick me an email and I'll bring it up in these recordings, and you can have a look at a later stage. Underneath the video, you have a little bit of a box here. What I suggest you do that is just put in a to-do list or a little bit of an action list, specifically about things that are coming through your mind when you're watching the video, right? Then you can actually email it or print it out. So then you've got an action step for that particular strategy going forward. Up here, just if you think about the impact this particular strategy would have on your business. So, if it's 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever it is, no right or wrong answer here. It's just at the end of this this series, 5 weeks, I'm going to take you and give you a bonus section, which is called a profit acceleration software, where I ask you a few questions and you get a roadmap for the next 90 days, 6 months to work on specifically around your business. And this just gives a little bit of the algorithm to pick up of that percentage of how important you think these strategies are for your particular business. Underneath here is my resources. Okay, if you do want to send me anything, any templates, or if you want me to critique something, all you need to do is just send a resource to me. Click on that. Okay, download the file. Upload the file and send it off to me, and it'll be in there. I'll receive that, and then we can communicate through this. Any resources I send through to you will be on this side here, resources received from your coach. So if I do say, oh, look, I'm going to send a template out, it'll actually be under there, under my resources. Don't worry about everything else up to the messaging. Okay, this is where you can send me an email, direct email to me, right? Just compose an email, so you can do it through the platform as well. If you prefer it to do it through your own Outlook or Gmail, whatever, that's fine. But at least if it's through here, then you've got the email that you can refer back to specifically for these lessons. So that's how the dashboard works. I've gone over it fairly quickly. If you do need a little bit more help, as I said, reach out to me going forward. Okay, so do we have any questions before I get started? No? Okay, if you do, then just pop them into the chat. Just wanted this particular first lesson, I just want to take you through the little bit of the format, and we will talk about how each week will be a little bit of agenda around there. So okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so what we're going to be covering each week is, I'm just going to sort of try and get you in the right frame of mind about your wins. Okay, so if you do have some wins, right, what I find is I've been coaching business owners for a long period of time. What does come out, or what resonates to me, is that they're always focused on the troubleshooting, the firefighting, the real negative things in their business, the things that are going wrong. So what I want to try and do over the next 5 weeks is just to reverse that around and try and get you to think about the positives. We all have positives in our business. We just don't tend to recognize them too much. So, in the next 5 weeks, I just want you to spend some time thinking about your wins for that week. So, I do it pretty much on a Saturday morning. Right, I have a look at my full week and the wins that I've got. If I've got a new client on board, if I've finished a new program, or if I've really accomplished something in my business, I just really celebrate that. Okay, now you can celebrate it in different ways. I tend to tell my wife. My wife loves the motivation that I get with helping people, so I share that with her. You can share it with people around you. You can actually share that with me as well. So flick me an email and say, look, this is a win, right? But I will give you an opportunity within these lessons just to tell us about your wins if you like. Okay. What I find is that the universe works in mysterious ways, and the more that we celebrate our wins, the more we attract those wins. So, don't underestimate the power of just taking a little bit of time and looking at the positivities in your business. So we'll just talk about some wins that are happening in the network. Right, I'll do a quick lesson review. So just remind you of this review of this week. So hopefully you've watched the video, you download the workbook before the live session. Okay, and we'll just do a little bit of a quick review. I'll have a question and answer section. So if you do have any questions specifically around this lesson, right, or stuff, then we'll bring that up. Very conscious of time for this. I'd rather you be out there doing the work and spending the time that working on your business. But this is a little bit of a forum where we can get together and just ask some questions and might help the group. Okay, I'll do some top insights each week, so things that you can take away. And I'm always asking the participants and the attendees of these particular Jumpstart sessions what they've got out of it, what they did differently, and how it. So I'll share those with you each week. We'll look at a quick view of next week's lesson. So what's coming up. Okay, and then we'll move on. Now, today we've got Stevie, right? So Stevie is a support person for me in Business Station. So, you probably get a few emails from Stevie or whatever, but if you do need some help or whatever, then please reach out to myself. Stevie's put the little bit of the information in the chat there. So my email address, paul@businessstation.com.au, or you can flick an email through to stevie@businessstation.com.au. But we're there to help you and support you through this journey. So don't be afraid to reach out to us, right? And we will get back to you and help you through this as best as possible. If you do need some templates or anything, or if you are struggling with something outside of what these lessons are doing, then please let us know. Might be able to help you with that as well. Okay, so let's move on to this week's lesson. So if anybody's got any wins, pop them into the chat. I got an email. I'm actually running another Jumpstart program at the moment, which is coming towards the end of it. And I did get an email early this morning. It's somebody from the Eastern States. And he just came back about this particular lesson around market dominating position. And I asked him, I said, look, how's that changed in that specific strategy? And he said, his name's Ron, right? And he said when he started the program, he had no positioning in the market. Now, he didn't know that he wasn't positioned in the market, right, beforehand. Then he realized, hang on, I'm just competing against everybody else out there. I need to differentiate myself. So he struggled to put something together, right, because he really did everything that that everybody else did in his industry. So, I asked him, what's his USP? What's his unique selling proposition? I mean, what makes him different, his competitive advantage? And he really, really struggled with that. But when he went through this strategy, right, he then started to define what made him different, right? And it wasn't the product and services. It was actually how he was delivering it. Okay, so if you've watched the video, we've gone through a few of the highlights of things that you can concentrate on that might make you different and separate you from your competition. And I'll go through those in a little while. But it might take a little bit of time to really, really dig deep, right? I do hear a lot of business owners come out and say, look, we do everything the same in our industry, right? Especially I spoke to a mortgage broker a little while ago, and he said, we're very regulated. We can't do anything different. We've got to follow the code of practices and whatever. So then I asked him, I said, well, tell me how you're delivering it. What do you do differently in that relationships out there? And he said, well, yeah, look, I do this when no one else does it and whatever. And I said, that's your uniqueness. That's where you need to get behind. So, if you are struggling with this, then, look at, really, really digging deep in that personal relationship rather than just the product and services that you deliver out there. Also, I had a question last week on this lesson around the difference between a market dominating position and a unique selling proposition. Okay, now they're very, very similar, but there's a slight difference. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of a case study, right, on how you can, differentiate that and really separate those two, the market dominating position, right, and your uniqueness or what makes you different. I've worked with a lot of dentists over the time. Over the last 20 years, I've been coaching, worked with a lot of dentists. It was a niche that I specialized in for a little while. And I remember one of the dentists ringing me up, and he was really excited. And he said, look, Paul, he said, I've got the great market dominating position. It's going to really, really separate me up. It's really fantastic, really excited about it. And I said, okay, tell me about it. And he said something around, oh, look, we're the only dentist in Perth that specialises in periodontal disease. Now, right, I apologize if I haven't said that right, but periodontal disease. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, oh, Paul, you wouldn't believe it. He said, you know, if you look at the stats, everybody over 50, 50% of people over the age of 50 will get some sort of periodontal disease, which is like a gum disease. Okay. And he said, we're the only one that specializes. I'm going to do all my marketing around it, blah, blah, whatever. And I said to him, stop there. His name was Mike. I said, Mike, just stop there. I said, it is not a market dominating position. It's a uniqueness, not a market dominating position. And he said, well, why not? And I said, because I'm over 50, right? And what goes through my mind is when you're marketing that, I'm going to fit into that category of the 50 that won't get it. Okay, that's what happens with health and well-being. We don't think we're going to get it. So, you know, yes, he might have a uniqueness that he specializes in that, but he, you know, to the normal people that are reading that, they're putting into that category that they're not going to get it. So he's not going to really express that out there. So hopefully that, you know, really gets into that difference between the two. So don't get caught into that. What I do say to people is look at your clients, look at your potential prospects of their hot buttons. What really gets them motivated to reach out to you? I mean, put it into your headline. We'll get into that in a little bit of the communication out there. But the first part, and this is why I start off with this lesson, is to try and make you unique. What makes you stand out? Okay. So hopefully you've gone through the lessons and gone through there. So look, thanks for sending that through. Let's move on to this week's lesson. So let me just get my notes up here so we can start going through. So if you've got any questions, pop them into the chat, but we'll get into this week's lesson review. So this week's lesson review, or lesson, we talked about market dominating position. Right now, if you watch the video, we spoke about Domino's Pizzas and how that became $1 million sort of massive business just on having that market dominating position. You know, I mean, that you know, that major one strategy that they stuck behind, you know, the quick pizzas for hungry college kids in America when it first started, and it's just elevated from there to now that we want something really quick. We want something that's convenient, not necessarily quality. Right now, people argue with me, but there's some quality pizza places out there. But Domino's is still going very strong because of a couple of things: convenience and consistency. Okay, so you know, I mean, these since COVID or the pandemic's happened, that's elevated with people's thought patterns of, you know, convenience and consistency. Hence why we have all these door-to-door services now where convenience has gone through the roof. Okay, so in the lesson this week, we spoke about the importance of market dominating position, right? And really the 5-step process to create your market dominating position. So I'm just going to go through there very quickly. The first step was determining your strategic position in the market. So, I mean, what's that really that strategic position that really stands out? I mean, what specific niche market, if you go into a niche market, it stands out? You know, the second one is the primary market dominating position. So, I mean, you have your strategic positioning, but then you also have your primary market dominating position. Right now, I suggest that, you know, my mentor always says to me, repetition is the mother of all learning. So maybe, you know, you do have access to these videos on an ongoing basis. So maybe re-look at this video down the track as well. If things change in your market, if you see good opportunities, watch this video again and go through this process, because it is an evolution. It is a process. Sometimes, I mean, I've had a client working with me for about 12 years, right? And he's had a really good market dominating position, really positioned himself out there. When the pandemic happened, that all stopped. And, you know, so he reached out to me straight after, when we started getting back on board after the pandemic. And he said, I need to go through this lesson again and really position myself correctly. So, you know, this is just a evolution in what we do going forward. Step number 3 is you need to determine your supporting business model. So that's, what's going to support, right, your promise out there on there as well. So, how are you supporting what your promise to your customers, your clients, or your patients are out there? So, make sure that you've got some sort of supporting. So, like Domino's, right? They came out and said, 30 minutes or less, or your pizza's free, which was a massive marketing campaign for them, right? Their supporting model is that they had to employ people to actually get on the roads and start delivering those. A lot more out there. So forward. Christine asks, will these resources be available us once we have completed this course? Yes, you do have access to the dashboard going forward. So you'll always have access to the dashboard that you can come back with those resources, right? So as long as you keep your login details, you'll always have these resources. And if you do need anything after this lesson, after this this sort of particular program is finished and you need some templates, then they will be put on your dashboard. So yes, you will have access to the resources going forward. Step number 3 is you need to determine your second market dominating position. What other market dominating position can back up your strategic and primary market dominating position? So, that could be a couple of things, but make sure that you do have something to fall back on, right? Especially around the changes in the market. Changes happen very, very quickly. So your strategic position in the market might change. At least you've got something just, you've got supporting in that second market dominating position just to back that up until you start positioning yourself a little bit better. Step number 5 is you need to create that positioning statement or elevator pitch or whatever. So that's communication out there. How are you going to communicate that strategic positioning out to the market? So, I've got a dry cleaner on board, right? Been struggling, 3rd generation dry cleaner. Been working with him for about 3 years now, and we've been talking about different things, profits and whatever. Then we came through of how he's positioning himself out there, and he came back and he said, well, to be quite honest, Paul, we do everything that all other dry cleaners do in Perth and the surrounding areas. So we dug deep and I said, what about convenience, right? And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, can you go out and pick people's, dry cleaning up at their house, bring it to your dry cleaning factory, dry clean it, press it, whatever, and then deliver it out in the rest of the day, the end of the day. And he said, yeah, I could do that. My son's at home doing nothing. We've got a van and whatever. So we put that in place, right, at the start of this year, and it's just going through the roof now. Remember, convenience. People are reaching out, right? They just want that door-to-door service, right? And it's really, really put him up. So his whole marketing is around what makes us different is that we will pick up your dry cleaning in the morning, leave it out, right? We'll pick it up, go and do the work, and we'll drop it off at the end of the day for you, right? Now, they do charge a little bit extra. They're probably the highest dry cleaners in Perth at the moment, but they're excelling it because people are reaching out and prepared to pay that little bit extra to get that convenience out there. Okay, so moving forward, right, we talk about three categories that you can look at that will really differentiate yourself in the market. So we spoke about the category 1, which is the level of service, which, as I said, is convenience, top of the level. If you can then start putting some convenience in your business, that will help your clients or your prospects or your patients, whatever, right? Think about convenience. You're gonna start setting yourself apart from your competition out there, right? These could include location, not always possible for people, right? They're stuck in a location, but if you can change locations or get another location, I've had clients that have come to me and said, yeah, look, I'm south of the river. I'd love to go north of the river, but people won't travel this far. So they have a pick-up and drop-off service north of the river, right? And they're now going through. So it might not be your specific location, but you could have, drop-off places. You could have, I've got another client that uses retail shops north, south, and central of Perth just to display their retail stuff out there as well. So you just got to start thinking outside the square. You think of location, availability, right? That could be the hours that you're open. It could be opening on a Saturday morning. As I said, my mortgage broker that I've been working with, right, he works Monday to Friday, trying to see everybody between 9 and 5. Most of the people are at work, right? So he's opened up his availability on a Saturday morning from 9 to 12, right? And he's now getting people booking in that, right? Just because he's a little bit differently. So look at availability out there. People love to work on their schedule rather than yours, right? So try and, accommodate that. Not always possible, but if you can do that, then really, really great to differentiate yourself from your competition out there. Ordering process, so things like, making sure that your ordering process is easy, especially this day and age right now where we do a lot of ordering online. It becomes very complicated, very hard, right? Business owners are struggling to transition between, selling from a bricks and mortar to the online world, right? But they know that they have to do it to keep competitive out there. But make sure that the ordering process is easy, right? Just a click. They don't have to, your prospective clients, customers don't have to go through, rings and hoops just to order. Make it really, really simple, right? I see it day in, day out when I'm trying to order something. If it becomes too complicated, too hard, I'll go to somebody else. So making sure that you've got that ordering process under control. Make it easier and make it fun, right? Don't make it a maze for people. That's my biggest take out there. Okay, what I tend to do is I have a look at when I do things like when I'm ordering things online, right? I see the process, right? Also that risk factor in there as well, if there's a backup process or whatever in there as well. And if it becomes too hard, I've definitely gone, and most of the people out there are exactly the same. The next one is delivery. I mean, how you're delivering out there. So, as I said, if convenience and location might not be an option, then look at delivery to it. Like my dry cleaner, they've now thought, well, okay, I've always tried to get people into my store to drop off their dry cleaning. Just with a little bit of convenience or delivery service, I can pick up and deliver it to them, and it's going to really, really set me apart out there as well. The next one is payment terms, right? People these days are really, really clicky about payments, especially with all the fraud and the scams are happening out there. So make sure that your payment terms are really, really risk-free. But more importantly, cost of living, cost of doing business is going up. So people, want those, full payments or, can I pay over 30 days instead of upfront, whatever. Make sure that you've got some good backup strategies around that, right? But, if you can put some payment terms in there, right, helping people with the, a lot of the big companies are doing it now with the afterpays and the full payments and all that sort of stuff. It's, the old lay-by style of doing it, but it's an online thing as well. So look at your payment terms going forward. The next thing is miscellaneous services, right? You could really, really distinguish yourself about adding miscellaneous services to what you do. So now this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do them yourself. I've got a landscaper out there that does landscaping, puts in plants and grass and the whole lot, right? And what makes him really, really different from any other landscaping company is that he'll say, okay, look, if you need some brick paving, I've got somebody that can do the brick paving. I've got somebody that can do, retaining walls, even high pressure cleaning, right? So, he goes out there, he might do the garden for somebody, right? And he sits back, the customer is really, really happy. Then he says, oh, look, your driveway looks a bit mucky. Have you ever thought about getting that high pressure? I can organise that for you. Okay? So he's like a little bit of a one-stop shop, and he's becoming known for that. Okay, so look at miscellaneous services that you can, just align yourself with another business, right? Work with them, right? And they could do the same when they're, the high pressure cleaner going out there, right, doing somebody's driveway. You could just say to the person, look, have you ever thought about getting a landscape ring and bringing up your house? You're obviously getting your driveway cleaned to make it look good, right? And trying to sell those, right? Probably a bad example, but you'll get the idea around it. The second category that we looked at is speed, right? Now, this is a really, really important one right now because what happens is that we're in a fast-paced environment. People just want things right now. So look at, when we're looking at the level of service, so it could be delivery, right? It could be that you could speed up the process. Dry cleaning, as I said, I use this as an example because it's a very, very good example. And this client's just really nailing it and going through the roof and really having massive growth in his business. But he looked at speed, right? A lot of dry cleaners out there, you might drop your dry cleaning off, right? And it might be 2 or 3 days before you get it back, right? So he has a quality service that he can pick it up in the morning, right? Really fast track that and deliver it in the afternoon, right? So, that's a speed thing that makes him a little bit different out there in the market as well. Not everyone takes that because it is an added extra cost on it, right? People are prepared to wait 3-4 days, go and pick it up, and we'll deliver it, pick it up on a Monday, we'll deliver it on a Friday or whatever, right, at this cost. But if you want it, picked up in the morning and delivered in the afternoon, it's going to be a higher cost, right? He does get people that will reach out and say, yes, I need this by tonight. I've just, got up this morning and I'm going to a party tonight and my dress needs to be dry cleaned. I need it. So, speed is one of the good ones to look at. Okay. The next one is education and training, right? We're in an environment now where we learn, or we really earn for learning out there, right? So education and training is really top of the list for a lot of businesses out there, and it could become a differentiation to you. I've just recently bought a TV, right, at home, right? I think it was about an 85 millimeter TV, right? And I thought I got it home, right? And the instruction manual was really complicated, right? It comes in all different languages, the whole lot. But the person selling it to me, when he was putting it into the car, he said to me, look, here's my card, here's my email address, my phone number. If you have any problems with it, just give me a call and I'll take you through it. Okay, so that made me really stand out. I wasn't expecting it, right? I wasn't expecting him to say that to me, right? Where, you could go to all these big retailers, buy a TV, they pop it into your car and you've gone to try and set it up yourself. They do have that service to come out and set it up for you, but most people don't take up that offer. They try and do it themselves. So, this really stood out to me. So if somebody says to me, look, I'm looking for a TV, you've got a new TV, where'd you buy it from? I would say, go to this guy because he really has that backup service and he'll help you. So, it really distinguishes him, right, from everybody else in the industry in my mind going forward. So look at education and training, right? Especially if you've got a product or service that might take a little bit of education or training to get the best out of it. Right. It could be, just a quick manual, a checklist. It could be even a video that you popped onto YouTube, right? You give the people a link and say, look, you bought this product, right? There is this link that you can go and it will show you how to use the product and get the best out of the product or the service going forward. It will really distinguish you from your competitors out there around if you put some education and training in there. The next one is remove all potential risks. As I said before, we're in that environment now where people are looking at, risks, scams. People are getting scammed every day these days across the world. It's getting worse and worse. The hackers and the scammers are getting smarter. The government agencies are trying to keep on top of it. But as an individual, as a business owner, if we can look at, potential risks and remove them, right, where people are looking at working with you over your competitors. If you have a risk reversal strategy in there that removes those risks, they're going to reach out to you, right, rather than everybody else. So it could sort of differentiate yourself out there as much as possible. Moving on, quality. Right now, quality is a really vague term, right? When people buy something, they expect quality, right? But some people go through that mind of you get what you pay for. Okay, so if you can communicate, right, that you give a good quality product, right, at a reasonable price, not a cheap price. You can't be cheap and give a quality product. It just doesn't resonate with people, right? But quality comes with price. Okay? So you can, I mean, I've had a client now that's increased they haven't changed their products, haven't changed their services at all, but their communication out there is communicating that their product and services are a very, very high quality, right, at a reasonable price. Okay, and when people weigh that up, right, they're getting a lot of people reaching out to them. So look at quality might be one that you can look at. But as I said, you can't be a budget person and have quality products. It just doesn't resonate with people, because what goes through my mind is that we pay what, you know, we get what we pay for, right? You know, that cheap and nasty, I expect it to be cheap and nasty because I'm not paying much for it. But if I pay a high quality price for something, I expect a high quality. So that could just be in the communication that you're going out there. Security and safety, right? This is another one that you can look at, right, to differentiate yourself. So if you're in a market where security and safety is high, just think about the bigger players out there, the shopping centres, the pharmacies out there. You know, even some doctors that are open after hours have got security guards out there. It helps people feel a lot more comfortable in doing it. So, you know, if you've got an online, if you're purely online, then maybe your security and safety also links in with your potential risk factor. You know, your data is safe, or you know, your security is safe in buying these products. It's just the communication out there, but you need to back that up. As I said before, you need that supporting business model, supporting your what you're putting out there in your marketing or your communication out there as well. But security and safety is at the high top of mind for a lot of people out there now. So if you can, you know, go through this. What I'm trying to do is to give you as many ideas as possible. Only one or two of these, if you really concentrate on some of these and you think that really resonates, I can really do that. Only one or two will really distinguish you as a dominant force in your market and separate you out there, right? So I'm just giving you a lot of ideas. You don't have to do all these. You don't have to work on all these. You just got to try and pick one or two, right, and really concentrate on them, and that will differentiate you out there. Now, category number two, we spoke about is servicing. So things like you know, selection, right? You know, I've got a retail store right now. They're really concentrating on the selection that they do out there. So things like you know, different sizes, different colors, different you know, choices. If you think about the iPhones out there, Apple iPhone, when they first started, there was just, you know, one color. It was black, and one design, the whole lot. If you go right out there now, and their market is obviously teenagers and that youth that want that new stuff, that uniqueness. So now you can get in different colors, you can get different styles, different, you know, different everything out there. Okay, so they've really concentrated on attracting that and being different from their competitors in the market, the Samsungs and the Nokia's Nokia, I should say, out there, right? Because of their selection, right? And that's what people gravitate out there to, right? Could be the technology as well. So could be selection, could be where you're really concentrating on going forward. The next one that you can look at is pricing. Okay, as I said, cost of doing business out there is really high. Cost of living is high. Pricing is really important out there for people. But, right, you need to be profitable in your business. So don't overcut yourself. And I'll talk about discounting and all that in another lesson. But, you know, when you look at pricing, it could just be single or fixed pricing. So single pricing could be, you know, for, you know, for one product, it's this pricing. Right, you know, if you want an added on a miscellaneous product or service that added onto it, it's another price, right? Or you could bundle it all up and have a fixed pricing structure. This is what it costs, and this is what you get. Okay, you can have a very, you know, various different ones that you go on. Whatever works for your industry, whatever works for your business. Now, if you do get stuck in this, reach out. We can talk about this, and you know, if this is one of the things that you want to be concentrating on, then reach out, book a call with me, and we'll look at how your pricing structure is right now, and we can look at how we can make it different to what your competitors doing out there. So it could be fixed or single pricing. right? It could be increasing or decreasing the price you charge. Okay. Now I don't, when I talk about decreasing, I don't talk about discounting. I'm talking about decreasing a product, right? So I've gone through this with one of my clients. They had a bundle product up there that just wasn't selling at all. There was about 3 or 4 products within a bundle. Okay, and what they did was they looked at products that they didn't sell too much of, and they put that into the bundle and removed some of the products that they sold a lot of. They decreased that price, and they got a lot more interest in that particular bundle that they did. So, you know, opposite that is increasing your price. As I said before, people pay for quality. It might be looking at your pricing and saying, well, okay, how do I increase my price and communicate it out there and become the premium business that offers that product or service at that price? So you could be at the top, you might be at the middle pricing structure now, and you're competing on price with your competitors. You might look at it and increase your prices, which then you come out of that little bit of the bucket, right? And there's ways of doing that, right? Communicating is the easiest way, right? And I can help you with that, okay? But then what happens is you become a dominant force, because people look at it and say, oh yeah, that person charges a lot more than what everybody else does, but why do they charge more? And if you can back that up, people will come to you, because people will pay for quality, right? People will pay for value, right? People don't shop price, they shop value first, and then they justify with price. The challenge is that most business owners go straight into price in there, right? So you're missing out on a massive opportunity out there. The next thing is offer small value-added services, I should say. So that little bit of the bundling, right? Adding something. I've got a clothing store on board in a high Westfield. They're in about 8 Westfields across Australia. Okay, and they have a few products. They have a few clothing that comes out of line, you know, I mean, when the seasons change. Okay, so what they do is they add that value of that service and that product to their clients out there as well. Okay, so you know, I've got an accountant that adds bookkeeping to their product as well, bundles it all up, so it's a pretty much a one-stop shop. But you know, when we talk about pricing, it's about just being different to what your competition do out there or your competitors out there in their pricing model. So have a look at that. Could be a good category to look at, right? I would be definitely starting off with the level of service, right? So looking at the category 1, so things like location, availability, the ordering process, the delivery, your payment terms, and miscellaneous services, because that could really, really differentiate yourself without too much effort in changing a lot within your business. Okay, this is things that you should be doing on an ongoing basis, and keeping one step ahead of your competition is looking at these things, the level of service out there, because people just expect that service to be increasing as we go along, right? I've got some hospitality and cafe people here in WA, right? And they reckon that their level of service, their customer service, and whatever is really, really good and excellent, right? And I say, look, that customer service, if you were set up in Melbourne, you'd be going broke overnight, right? Because there's a whole different thing. So they went to Melbourne, they had a look at how, they never went there before, never been to Melbourne hospitality scene before. They took a trip over there, right? Had a look at how it was done there, brought that back here, and now they're excelling in their customer service and what they're doing out there, and they're becoming a dominant force in the cafe and restaurant industry here in Perth. So, you know, just going back to basics might help you in doing that as well. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a couple of ideas around, you know, how you can differentiate yourself out in the market. So, if anybody got any questions, pop it into the chat box going forward, if anyone's got any quick questions. But let me just have a look. I've got a question here. Mike, oh yeah, so this particular client of mine, he's just put in a little bit of a comment around he's a carpet cleaner out there, right? And he just wanted me to share his story with you, which is a really, really good story. So thanks for that, Ron. Okay. Oh yeah. So what we did with Ron, right? Carpet cleaning, right? To make what makes him different right now. cut the story really short is that his whole communication is he fixes other people's mistakes, right? Because what he identified was that in his market, there was a lot of cowboys going out there undercutting him, right? He'd been in business for a long period of time. He realized how much it costs to remove a stain and use the right chemicals and do the process right for, how much time it would take. And he realized that there was a lot of cowboys, what he called cowboys in the industry, that would go out there, use inferior materials or solutions to remove spot stains and whatever, and they would damage the carpet, they would make it worse, right? And when I spoke to him a couple of years ago, he said, most of my jobs now is fixing their mistakes, where people have rang me up and said, look, I've had a guy out here, right, and I think he's messed up my carpet. Right. So his whole communication is out there is to say, look, man, I'm more expensive than a lot of people out there to come out and clean your carpets at the moment. But, 70% of my new jobs are fixing their mistakes. So what goes through their mind is that risk factor, right? Where people are looking at it, they might get 3 quotes, right? He's probably most expensive, right? But then they're looking at the value and saying, well, do I take the risk of getting this cheaper job and they stuff my carpet up, or do I just pay the extra, get this guy in that knows what he's talking about? So, really, really important when we spoke about that, right? He didn't do anything, didn't change anything in his business except about the communication in his marketing out there, and he's become a dominant force now, and he's really, really excelling in what he does out there. So yeah, really, really good stuff out there. But questions that come to mind is make sure that you really, really dig deep in some of these categories down there, right? Look, maybe do a little bit of research, right? Have a look at your competition. What are they lacking, right? Look at their communication, their marketing. So what I tend to do is when I'm looking at a competitor for my clients, right? Or if I'm working with a client, I look at their competitors, I get their marketing material, their website, any flyers, brochures, or anything. I see how they're communicating out there. And then we have that little bit of a brainstorming and saying, well, what makes you different that they're not communicating out there? And in most cases, you'll find out that you're all doing the same, right? But you're not communicating that out there. Right. With my dry cleaner, when he found out that, when he did that little bit of convenience, picking them up, dropping the clothes off, he found out that there was 3 or 4 people in Perth that were doing that, but weren't communicating that out there. They already did that. Okay. But he became a leading force in it because he guaranteed it out there, right, that he would do it, and it was in his marketing. So just reading a couple of the comments as creating different trench surface challenging. You cannot post clients' reviews. Yes. So look, there is this sometimes becomes hard in a few industries, right, to differentiate yourself, right? Sometimes you just got to look a little bit deeper. So what I suggest is psychologist, let me have a look. Probably take that offline, right? So as a psychologist, it's a very, very unique business that you're in, right? So other services out there. So if you're struggling with that, then just flick me an email, paul@businessstation.com.au, right? And say that you'd like to catch up and just talk about your market dominating position. And I'll send you through my Calendly link. Book a time and we'll go through your specific business and we'll look at different avenues out there as well. So, but we'll definitely find something that will stick out, right? I've done it for many, many years with a lot of clients that have come and really, really stuck in their business and say, look, right, I'm regulated, I can't go out, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'd love to be doing this and can't do it. Can you help me stand out from the rest of the people? So we really dug deep in that. So it might just be good to catch up. So if that's you out there, then flick me an email, paul@businessstation.com.au, and we'll organise time to catch up. Okay, so I'm conscious of time, so let's move forward. Top insights, right? Top insights from not only this lesson, but lessons going forward. Make sure that you're allocating a bit of time each week, right? So, whether that's, 5, 10 hours, at least 5 hours a week, just a little bit of a quiet time. Maybe it's just watching this video, downloading the workbook, thinking about your business and how you can implement it into your business, right? Play out 100%. Business is just the game, right? Enjoy the game, have fun. The more fun you have in business, the more money you'll make, okay? So just play the game well, right? So, you know, if you think about a game, maybe a football game, right? The AFL, if you follow the AFL, for instance, or any other sports, they always keep score, right? What's their score? What's your score, right? In business, right? Imagine going to, you know, the AFL on the weekend and they don't keep score. Right? Imagine how that feels. So think about your business as a game, right? And keeping score, making sure that you're having fun, you're keeping up with new techniques and what's happening, those new learnings. And I can really, I can guarantee that you'll excel out there. Is there a template to brainstorm our MDPs? Yes, there is. I do have one. Let me just share that with you. So. Let me just let me just find it for you, and then I will bring it up. Okay, so I do have this template, okay, which is just a 7-day quick start program, right? It will have a couple of things on how to communicate out there, right? But communicate it out, to communicate your message out there. So I'm going to put that in there. That will help you try and think about, you know, what does make you different. Okay, so, you know, sometimes, as I said before, it might be just a bit of research, right, out there, right, looking at your competition, and then you can start thinking about it. So that's all I do with my clients, is I look at their competition, their competitors out there, and then I look at their business and saying, okay, what do you do differently? How do you deliver it? I mean, do you have that little bit of extra, conversation or relationship with people, whatever? But I will start sending some templates out. So look at your dashboard under those resources, right? And I'll start adding some stuff as we go along these lessons. But there is a template. I will get that out for you, and I'll put it onto your dashboard so you can do it. But, you know, if you do need to reach out, then please reach out. Just a phone call, email, or text away. Okay, next lesson. What's coming up next lesson is about lead generation mistakes. So what I find is that, you know, people come to me, or business owners come to me and say, you know, lead generation is where I really need to be concentrating on, right? So I thought I'd add this in there because, you know, I do see a lot of mistakes being made out there. There is 3 big lead generation mistakes I'm going to share in the next week's lesson, and it might help you overcome those little bit of the fear factors out there. And what I really want to try and do is to get a better bang for your buck. Well, what I mean for that is get a better return on your investment, not only for time, but money. So if we talk about marketing, if you're marketing out there and not getting a return, I want to help you with that. Okay, I want to help you get more leads. But when I talk about leads, talking about high quality leads, not just blanking out there and hoping your ideal target market will reach out to you. Okay, I want to be talking about attracting, communicating, putting that messaging out there so you're attracting your ideal clients to it, which will help save a lot of time and a lot of money going forward as well. So make sure you hop on to next week's lesson, have a look at it, make sure that you make some notes, and if you are struggling, then reach out to me. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this week's lesson. No more questions. As I said, if you've got any queries, whatever, then reach out to me before next week. But look, I just want to thank you for joining me this week. I know it's been a little bit of a quick session, but I wanted to sort of jam-pack this first session in there, so it gives you an idea. We'll have a little bit more of a relaxed one next week, where I'll talk about the lesson in a little bit more detail, and we'll questions and answers. So come with your questions, right? If you can't meet the live sessions, then flick me an email and I'll bring that up going forward. But guys, thank you very much for joining me. Have a productive and profitable week, and take care, and we'll see you on next week's live session. See you guys.